Help small businesses here in San Diego. State Assemblyman Nathan Fletcher here with all the details on this. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Tell us about this effort to create jobs. You hear the words create jobs, everybody's listening. What is this all about?
Well, I think right now the most important thing we can be doing is creating an environment where small businesses can actually create jobs. And it's a tough economy right now, and people are struggling. It's very real. People are worried about their jobs. And California is a difficult state to do business, and one of the reasons it's difficult is we have a regulatory environment that's really hard on small businesses. And so this is a piece of legislation the governor just signed that actually it's a rare thing coming out of Sacramento. We're lowering the regulatory burden on small businesses. We found an industry that was having to comply with things it shouldn't have had to comply with, paying tens of thousands of dollars for renovations, for fees, and we've lowered those to help them create jobs and put people back to work.
So that's the cycle that we're creating. You
Right.
help small businesses, and therefore the jobs come with that, right?
Right. And a lot of people, when we did our event yesterday, a lot of the folks showed up, said, hey, we wouldn't have been able to open without this law, because one company was saying it was $86,000, $87,000 of extra things they needed to do to comply with the regulatory burden. And we streamlined that, and we found an easier way to let entrepreneurs and small business owners do what they want to do, which is create jobs, hire people, put people back to work.
I'm interested because I think a lot of people were joking yesterday with the whole brewery thing
Right.
and the beer tasting. Tell us about that legislation, and also, tell us what it is first of all, and then we'll kind of talk about how that's actually helping.
We spend a lot of time, I spend a lot of time talking about our technology sectors, our biotech industry, our defense industry, but we want to make sure we're going out and being helpful to every industry out there. For anyone that's creating jobs. And in San Diego, we have a booming industry here with the craft brewery and the micro-breweries. And so enabling San Diego to really become the capital and the most innovative place to help them do what they do. And that's what this legislation does.
And I know a lot of the small businesses, a lot of the breweries were incredibly happy that now they can do beer tasting like wine tasting.
Like wine tasting. They were previously, they had to comply as if they were a restaurant, but they're not a restaurant. They're a tasting room. And a lot of these regulations are decades old, before this industry even really existed, or before it really took off to the extent it is today. Mm-hmm. And so to do legislation, to bring together a bipartisan group of folks, to work with public health officials, to work with a variety of stakeholders and say, how do we ease the regulatory burden and really let these folks start, hire, put people back to work, and continue to make San Diego really in a lot of ways the capital of this industry is good.
What's your take on the whole debt ceiling thing? How does that affect the state? How does that affect a county's economy, a city's economy? It's all kind of intertwined, if you will. Well,
they do. I mean, they all affect. I think one of the worst things that could have happened, or still potentially could happen, and hopefully won't, is to have the credit rating of the U.S. government affected, because that affects the interest rates on payments, which will have a ripple-down effect through all levels of government. And I think Washington needs to get serious about reducing the debt, about reducing the deficit, but also providing some certainty. That's one of the things we did in this bill. It's one of the things I think is important to do, to give people certainty. These are what the rules are going to be. This is what you're going to be complying with moving forward, because we have got to get to an environment where our small businesses, our entrepreneurs, have certainty of what the rules are going to be so that they can really invest and get people working.
Can I quickly ask you, Nathan, because last time you were here, we talked about the initial campaign finance declarations for the race for mayor of San Diego, and it turned out you came in second behind Councilman Carl DeMaio. However, your campaign had the most outside contributions.
Right.
Why do you think that is, and what does that actually mean for the race that we're still a year out?
Well, in general, campaigns are won not by who raises the most money, but who has the best ideas and the best vision, and I believe that's our candidacy. Mm-hmm. But it was really comforting and humbling in a lot of ways to see that we raised the most money from donors, and we had the most support, and a really diverse group of people. A lot of folks who have never given before. We also had the lowest average contribution, which I think is important because we have a broad base of support that comes in. But it's going to be a tough race. I have very formidable opponents.
Yes, sir.
Carl DeMaio is a very, very wealthy individual, contributed about $10,000 a day of his own money to the campaign. Bonnie Dumanis is very formidable. She's been involved for a long time, and so is Congressman Filner. And so I think we've got a lot of work to do, and it's just the beginning. But to have the best month of June, to bring together the most supporters, to raise the most support in the first month is really humbling. I think puts us off to a great start.
It's going to be a fun race.
Absolutely.
I look forward to it.
The city deserves that, though. It's a great city.
I'm
telling
telling you,
campaign.
Gives us something to talk about for the next year. Nathan Fletcher, we thank you as always.
Thanks, buddy.
your time.
Good to see you.
Chrissy, over to you.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. It is hot.